Good morning, Zio here. And it's Sunday, which means it's time for the Sunday Gaming Roundup. Still ain't got a proper name for that, so that's what we're just gonna call it. Where we go back through the week and take a look at the things that we talked about, and give any maybe important updates or something that came up, or just quickly go over it. Of course, you can see everything in the description down below. Will be a list of all the things that we talked about, or the links to said things, of course. And yeah, that's what we do on Sundays. So let's get into it, shall we? So on Monday, we had a super quick update. That was it. It was just a channel update going on about how it's Christmas. The holidays were coming up and everything. There's probably not going to be a whole lot of news coming out. So what was going on for the week? And then Tuesday came around, and somewhere around Monday or that weekend, I don't remember which, whatever it was, Bethesda decided to giveth, the stuff that I thought was going to slow down, that I thought there wasn't going to be much there to really talk about this week. But Fallout 76, of course, had their hacking incident where people were interjecting things into the game from Fallout 4. Of course, the link to all that info, the video on that, down in the description if you want to check that out. But yeah, apparently it got so bad to where somebody released a hack where they could straight up steal your inventories. And there are videos out there of people running around for just like a few minutes stealing hundreds of players' inventories right out from under their noses, as far as like 200 meters away from them, so they don't even have to be right next to the person when they take it. That was a big deal. Bethesda, of course, finally responded. But I think at this point in time, the damage has been done, and there is an update on that. However, that video is going to be Monday, because there's going to be a lot to go through and talk about with that. But the rest of the week, we went ahead and we started playing Megaman Legends 2. I did have some issues while doing the first couple of recordings on that. Mainly controller issues. So, I was using my PlayStation 4 controller with a DS4 in order to make it work on the PC, and the past couple of times I apparently kept unplugging the controller with my feet because I've got a cord, because when I created, when I built this thing here, this rig here, set it up, forgot Bluetooth was a thing, so it doesn't actually have Bluetooth abilities. So everything on mine is corded, of course. And I seem to have fixed that issue now. This weekend I went ahead and I bought this Xbox One controller, corded Xbox One controller, booted it up, set up the controller in the emulator and everything, and it seems to be working just fine. I booted up the game and it worked without an issue, so that's good. We're going to have more of that coming this week, hopefully, if I can actually sit down and get a chance to record more. So that's coming. Of course, Christmas came. I wished y'all a happy Christmas, all that good jazz. And for the next few days, we played Megaman Legends. So if you want to check that out, in the description is the playlist so far of the first 2 episodes of that. More to follow in the weeks to come. Then I ran across this on the Facebooks. A friend of mine shared it. This video, pretty worth. It's definitely worth taking a look at, especially if you're into the horror genre of video games. Because honestly, I feel like we haven't had any really good ones lately in quite a few years. I mean, we've had some pretty good remakes with Resident Evil and stuff, but we haven't had anything really good that's just sort of new. And this is a hack of PT, where dude has come out and essentially gotten out of bounds from the main door that you would normally walk through and the ending cutscene would happen, and is just sort of exploring the area. Guy has done several other hacks, of course. Lance McDonald is his name, or it's the channel name. It's in the description, of course, the video and the links and such. But he's done a lot of other hacking, of course, with the PT. The Silent Hill demo, essentially, that we got. I'm not really sure what to call that. I guess it's just a demo. You know, it was a concept demo. And looks fantastic. I mean, just the attention to detail for something that was purely seen in a cinematic that turns out is rendered in-game, by the way, not just, you know, a cinematic that plays and there's nothing actually beyond the door. There are stuff back there that actually renders in for the cutscene, and that was just an amazing thing to look at and see. So definitely highly think you should go check that out. There's a lot of detail in there where there shouldn't really be a whole lot of detail. So kudos to Kojima and anyone else who worked on that project, and it would be great to see, you know, more of this. Definitely more of this. So it'd be really nice to see a new horror game come out of Kojima Productions or something like that. Yesterday, of course, we talked about the Rise of Skywalker and the current audience scores. Audiences seem to love it. And looking at the box office and everything, after Christmas, it seems to be doing a lot better than the first weekend was. The first weekend was so-so. I guess it's the best way to put it. I mean, it wasn't the best thing in the world, but it wasn't exactly, you know, super good either. I mean, they were spinning it as the best, or the sixth best opening in December or something weird like that, because, you know, framing is everything when it comes to these things. But it seems to be doing a lot better, and we will revisit this, of course, next week after this, you know, weekend finishes up and things, or at least I want to remember to come back and revisit and actually look at the box office and see what it's actually doing this time, because, you know, my feelings with Star Wars, I like the first one of the new sequel trilogy, The Force Awakens. I mean, it had its faults. The Last Jedi, can we just throw it off a cliff and forget it exists? Just please. The Christmas special is better. I mean, the prequel series is better than The Last Jedi, but that's just my opinion. The Rise of Skywalker, on the other hand, it had its work cut out for it. I still think it should have been a two-parter. The Rise of Skywalker Part 1 and Part 2, like other, you know, movie franchises have done, like the Harry Potter series. They did their final 1 and 2, and stuff like that. I think this should have been handled along those lines. I guess is the better way to put it. Because, yeah, just, there was a mess there at the end of The Last Jedi, and yeah. Other than that, the movie seems to be doing fairly well, or at least fairly decent anyway, and Star Wars obviously is not dead when you factor in things like The Mandalorian and the recent game that came out. So there's something that's there that's going to happen. Now, into the next thing. This right here. I'm using this tweet, which took me a little bit to find, because I forgot to share these things when I had it, because usually when I find something interesting on Twitter, I share it. I may not actually comment on it, but I will retweet it for myself to find later, to do one of these kind of things on it, or, you know, to just talk about it or use it as a jumping off point or an example or something like that. And I saw several of these things floating around where Disney cuts a same-sex kiss from The Rise of Skywalker in X country, right? And in this one, it's Singapore, of course. But it happened in several countries, apparently. And this has been talked about by several other people. I mean, for the most part, it's a non-issue. I know cool the heat down. Here in the States, when it comes to censorship, when you censor something in, say, my country, like the United States, I'll have an issue with it, and then I will talk about it, and it's like, why did you do this? This is not necessary. You know, it's happened in gaming a lot where, you know, the game would suddenly release in China, right? And then a patch comes through and it censors out all blood or something, or censors all this other stuff out of the game just overnight. And then you'll have somebody like me talking about it, because that's ridiculous. You know, if you want to censor things for another country, be my guest. Go ahead and make them a separate cut of the game, or the TV show, or the movie. Fine. They want to handle that, let them censor themselves to death. Here in the States, we don't do that sort of thing. You know, we've got all our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and all this other stuff that sort of allows us to do things and have way more freedom than other people. We don't need to censor things. And then you've got those Puritans out there who are like, think of the kids, with an M-rated game, and it's like, it's an M-rated game, the kids shouldn't be playing it, there should be no thinking of the kids to begin with, and if you would learn to parent, which apparently really ticks a lot of them off for some odd reason, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Learn to parent your children, people. I can do it. I'm sure you can. But anyway, so the point to this, you know, Singapore censors a few seconds of two females kissing near the end of Rise of Skywalker, right? Spoilers, by the way. Spoilers. Sorry, I spoiled it for you. Too late. It happened. To me, two females kissing, two dudes kissing, I don't care, right? You know, it's happening during the middle of a celebration, blah, 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 yada, yada. People are going to hug. People are going to kiss. Whoop-de-dang-do. It doesn't matter to me. You know, it happens all the dang time. I see it out and about. I see it everywhere else. Who cares? Although it's being removed from other countries where that sort of thing is highly frowned upon, or, dare I say, illegal in some countries. Because guess what? Being gay in certain countries it's an illegal act in those countries. You know, they want to censor it, fine, whatever. Do I think that they're idiots or whatever, and they're backwards, and they're behind the times? Yes, I do. You know, but at the same time, I can't really do anything for Singapore, or China, or the Middle East, because those aren't really my countries, and I'm not living there to really do a whole lot than to shame them for throwing the gays off of buildings or whatever and say, that's a horrible thing, you shouldn't do that. Trust you, seriously, you shouldn't do that. You guys are horrible people. Anyway, but now the whole thing that other countries are censoring it and it's not censored in our version, fine, whatever. Honestly, I don't care about that so much. I'm here to fight the fight on my soil, in my home country, you know, that sort of thing, because we have no need to be censoring things like that at all. You know, they shouldn't be censoring the blood, they shouldn't be censoring the same, you know, sex stuff, they shouldn't be censoring the non-same sex stuff, they shouldn't be censoring any of that over here in the US. You know, the words shouldn't be censored. But that's a whole story for another thing. Why are we actually going into this and talking about it in depth like this? And why I keep grelling on about how it's so ridiculous that we're even talking about this in Singapore? Because of people like this. Hey, anti-censorship crowd, where are you guys? You're awfully quiet on this censorship that is happening. What's going on? That kind of mentality is... Yeah, I don't even know where to begin, right? So you got these people out there who are pro-censorship. They're sitting there and they want things censored that they don't like. And I'm going to just say that this person might be one of those people, might be part of that crowd where you dare say call them the NPCs or the SJWs of the internet or whatever else, because they're so keen on censoring other things that they don't like, particularly in the video game and anime worlds, right? because they don't like it and they see it as somehow degenerate or whatever. Well, in Singapore, apparently people of the same sex kissing is degenerate, and they're being censored as a result. And then they're just sitting there going, where is everybody talking about this? I don't see anybody. And the problem is, they don't see anybody talking about it because, I don't know, maybe because they're all on mute or blocked by said people. These people live in this echo chamber where they don't look at other people. I don't have anybody muted. I don't have anybody blocked. I follow several people from different aisles, I follow those people over at Geeks and Gamer, and they've got one really one take on things for the most part. Meanwhile, I'm also following other people on the other side of the aisle, like Matt and a few others that I can't remember their names at the moment. But, you know, they have an incredibly different take on the situation, right? And that's how I come up with my opinions on things, is looking at both sides of the aisle, what they're talking about, and go, you know, that makes sense. That makes sense. That is stupid. That is stupid. And then here I am talking about it, right? But you've got these people here who have lived inside their echo chambers, who have like hundreds and thousands of people blocked because they use the blockchain thing, or not the blockchain, but the, you know, block bot things, the lists of people to block and stuff like that. So if you do follow, say, somebody like Geeks and Gamers or whoever, and they will go through and they'll add their entire follower list to said blocked list, right? And then you'll never actually hear from these people because you didn't want to begin with. So to come out there and sit there and say that they're being hypocritical because you can't hear them because you have shrunk into your shell in your corner somewhere in whatever dark room it is where everybody's giving you puppy kisses or something, you know. Just because you can't hear them talking about it doesn't mean they're not. And a lot of people have talked about it. I mean, that's the only reason I even know that it's being censored in other locations, is because it's been all over the place. People have been talking about it. They've mentioned it. They may not mentioned it in depth because, quite frankly, it's not happening here in the United States. I mean, you can, I guess, call that slightly hypocritical, I guess. You know, where if Singapore wants to do their thing, fine, more power to them, let them do their own thing. However, if they came over here, cut it out and censored it, yeah, I'll talk about it and say, look, Disney, don't do that. That is stupid. Anyway, I think I railed about it way too long. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.